Alright, welcome back to the tutorial. So in the previous tutorial we actually started storyboarding our battle sequence here, and so far Bob just kind of moves up here and then stops as soon as he gets sort of equal on the plane with our goon. Now we want Bob to sort of rotate this way and then I think start walking toward, well no, actually let's not do that because the dialogue window will sort of get in the way of Bob here. Let's actually just make him rotate his head over here, and then we'll start our dialogue between the two of them. So, back to our cutscene here, Goon 1, and we need to say, basically, when, yeah, let's do it this way. Let's do a sub event here. Sorry, just should have been a regular event. We want to say when, let's change this to just greater than, because then here we can say is if the Y position of Bob is less than or equal to the goon, then we can run our next timer here, which will be an unpause. Let's unpause cutscene goon1 dot rotate Bob head. Let's get rid of the P there, we don't need that. And let's add another event, add a new event below. That is the actual timer. Value of a scene timer, time in seconds, 1. Timer's name is going to be in quotation marks. Cut scene goon 1 dot rotate Bob head. When that's greater than 1, let's see, greater than 1, and we want to add this too, actually. When that happens here, Y position is less than or equal to, no, sorry. So when Bob's facing up, that's 270 degrees. When Bob's facing to the left, that's 180. So we want to check the angle of Bob and make sure that the angle is, let's add a sub-event, sorry. Sub-event here, we want to make sure the angle, an angle of an object is turned, I'm not going to use that object is turned toward the other right now. If Bob's angle is greater than 180, right? If Bob's angle is greater than 180, let's go ahead and remove, let's minus rotate Bob. No, I don't want to do it that way. Rotate minus value 5. Let's try 5. And let's copy this and paste it and say if the angle of Bob is equal to 180, then we need to, well, first we need to absolutely pause our timer here. So I'm going to copy and paste. Let's pause the timer. All right, let's see how we did here. Yeah, I kind of thought that was going to happen. All right. We need to pause the timer right away in our cutscene. We'll pause it up here. Let's see. Let's see if that worked, just doing that, pausing the timer right at the beginning. Okay, good. There we go. All right, now the next thing we want to do is we want to trigger our dialogue here, okay? And we'll keep the dialogue kind of simple but corny and fun. So we'll have, where's our cutscene? Here it is. Pause that, and then we'll run our next, we'll start running our dialogue. Let's add a sub-event. Whoops, let's move it over here actually. And what we'll say is, let's start our dialogue count off with a 1 here actually. Right, so we'll say variable, global variable value, cutscene, goon1.dialogue count is equal to 1. That's going to trigger our first dialogue event here, which is going to be global variable cutscene goon1.dialogue count equals 1. So we run all these timers, then we trigger our first piece of dialogue count, which is basically going to be we've got to send value of a string variable dmanager.currentString. Remember, dmanager.currentString is actually a string variable, and we're going to say that Bob is going to speak first. Of course, Bob speaks first. Who are you? And where is Jimmy? And we will send our check for dialogue, dmanager.check for dialogue. We'll trigger our check for dialogue here with a 1. And that's going to send this string to our type on dialogue external event we worked pretty hard on. All right, let's just see how that goes right now. Okay. So the dialogue didn't pop up. Now I wonder why that's the case. I have a suspicion here. So in our basic kingdom room, we have our kingdom room collisions. And you'll notice down here we set up this hide dialogue whenever that's not in collision with something. I'm wondering if that might have an effect here. Well, we can check it out by using our D key again as our debugging key. We can say D key released. Actually, it's already set up. How funny is that? Look at that. All right, so let's just hit the D key when it's done, and let's see what happens. Basically, the D key is just going to send a hello world string and try to open up the dialog container for us. Nope, not working. I have a feeling that it does not like this here, though. See what it says? When it's not in collision with the chest and not in collision with the desk, hide the dialog layer. We need to start keeping track of a way to know that we're in the middle of a cutscene. So let's go to our load game for a second, and let's go to our dialog manager here. And let's add a new global variable here. We'll copy and paste this so we'll do less typing. Let's call this dmanager running dialog. When running dialog is equal to 1, we're going to say ignore this bit of code here, this collision code. Where is it? Kingdom Room collisions. So let's add a sub-event. Let's move it up here. Move this down. And we're going to say if the value of dmanager.runningDialog equals 0, go ahead, go for all this stuff, do it. However, let's copy, paste. If dmanager.runningDialog is equal to 1, don't hide the dialog, right? Let's just toggle disable that for right now, because we might add some code here in the end. Let's just see if we've, well, no, we need to set our dmanager running dialog at the beginning of our cutscene. So let's do that. Let's do variable value dmanager.runningDialog equals to 1, so we can ignore the other things. And then when we're done, we need to shut this down. I'm going to make a comment to myself here. I'm going to add a comment. Make sure to shut down dmanager.runningDialog when finished. Okay? All right, let's see how we did here. Okay. So we should still be able to check that. Good, that still works. Now when we come down here, running dialog should be equal to 1. All right, look at this. We're making headway here. Now we might remember why this is happening here. It's because when we run our cutscene, dialogue count is always equal to 1 every time this does a check for the code. So we need to just add a quick trigger once while true. And that should put an end to that. I think that probably will solve our cutscene issues in the future as well. Let's just make sure here. Okay, good. So now we'll want to utilize the return key, right, to move the dialogue along. So let's go ahead and add another event here. We'll just add a new event below. And we'll say keyboard key released return. But we have to make sure that if the user starts burning through return right away, that might cause a bit of a problem. Let's worry about that later. Let's refine this now. We can add that return key. Oh, I know what. We'll add as we'll add a check that says cutscene goon1.dialog count has to be greater than 0. Whoops. Now, why are we doing this? Because if these are trying to run, these timers are trying to run, and the user just starts smashing the return key, it's going to start burning through all of these dialogue points before we get a chance to actually even run anything. So that's why we want to make sure that this finishes and triggers dialogue count equal to 1, at least, so that then the user can start hitting the return key. And of course, when the user hits the return key, we want to add one more to cutscene goon1.dialog count. We want to add one more. And then we can start copying and pasting here. If dialog.count is equal to 2, what do we want? We want to, let's let our goons speak a little bit here. Goon. None of your business. Who are you? Then from here we just want to do yeah, we'll leave that the way it is. Let's do another copy and paste. I think we just paste. Let's move this down. We want to keep the order if we can. Dialog 3 is going to be from Bob. I'm Sassy Bob. Deal with it. Alright, then they'll hit the return key again. We'll copy and paste the goon one more time. We'll go put the goon down here, make it 4. And the goon will say, what? And then when they hit the return key again, right, we'll say if return key released dialog count is greater than 0, right? But we also want to add, let's modify this a little bit more a second. Let's add a sub event below for the return key. And now let's bring this down here. Let's divide this up, because at some point we want to actually here you'll see what I mean here in a second. Let's paste it, and we'll say if the dialog count is greater than 4. We're going to say greater than only because sometimes users can mash a button so fast that it'll go to 6 or something. So if it's greater than 4, what do we want to do? Well, we want to clear our dialog, right? We want to hide the dialog and start moving the battle. So what was that again? That was, I believe, goons.battle, right? All right, let's double check here. Sorry, just double checking where this is. We want to do bmanager.begin is equal to 1, and we want to do goons.battle equal to 1. So let's hide the dialog. Actually, I think we have a way to do that, don't we? Yeah, I'm gonna look that up in a second. Hold on. Cutscene opening scene. I'm gonna bring up our kingdom here and look up how we ended our cutscene. Here we go. Jane and Henry cutscene. How did we finish this up? Went down here. Dialog count equals 15. Clear dialog timer. Okay, that's what we did. Do equals 1 to clear dialog timer. And then we want to end this cutscene and everything. All right, I think we're actually just going to run this first, and then we'll talk about finishing this up and the battle sequence later, because there are a couple of things I want to talk about. We got to remind ourselves, and I think this is getting a little long in the tooth. All right, here's the big moment. Good, return key isn't working, that's good. Whoops. Well, something went wrong. Looks like we've got some debugging to do. All right, that's the life of a programmer.